Hello, this is Simon Carlson from HiCreation, and today I'm going to show you how to create a destination using the HiCreation control panel. And the destination in HiCreation terminology is the logic that defines what data should be posted to a destination system and when. And our focus for today will be to create one of the most commonly used destinations across the HiCreation platform today, which is a PostFiles to FTP destination. And that is most commonly used together with a, for example, get orders from Shopify source. For e-commerce companies, they're looking to automate the transfer of orders from Shopify and then post it into most likely a third-party logistics company's FTP location. Before you watch this video, I would recommend you to look at the how to create a FTP key video, as well as the how to create a source video. With that said, let's jump straight into it. So the first thing we need to do is to jump to the destinations in the left-hand menu, and thereafter click Create Destination. The first thing we will be asked to do is to provide a name, and in this case we can call it PostFiles FTP. Thereafter, we'll be asked to select the system. So here we have a drop-down list of all the currently available systems on the platform, and we will see that FTP is one of them. So we can select that. And as I select the system, you will see that the functions already gets pre-populated. So these are all available destination functions for the FTP system. And you will see that FTP, PostFiles to FTP is already pre-selected. So we can go with that. One important thing to point out here is that any invited developer, system integrator, or web development agency can easily create their own systems and functions to the HiCreation platform, and that what we saw now is only what is already currently available. What you will see as well is that the key was already pre-populated, and that's why it's important to create the key before you're creating the destination in this case. So this is the FTP key that was created as part of one of my other videos. Lastly, we can focus in on the trigger. And the trigger is the logic that decides when the destination should run. And here we have three predefined options. The first one is aggregate, that will aggregate, as it sounds, all events under one job and then post that as one consolidated file into the FTP, in this case, to the destination system. We then have real time, which means that each time one event that gets triggered by or created by a job goes through, the destination will be triggered and post separate files to the FTP. And then lastly, we have a schedule option as well, which is very rare that we're using. And that is, if you've already seen the how to create a source video, you will recognize this, but here we can basically schedule when we want the destination to run based on a cron expression. So if I would want it to run at 0 minutes past every hour, for example, this would be the expression I would use. And as mentioned before, for those of you that are not yet fluent in cron, you can easily navigate to cron tab, and you can then basically translate the cron expression into plain text. In this specific case, we will go with a real time. Lastly, we need to define some additional settings in the settings box, because currently we haven't provided the details of where we want to post the files. So that we can easily find in our currently public documentation. So we can easily look into step 3 here, select the destination function. We can scroll through, and here is one example of a commonly used setting for a destination. So in short, what this means is that the format of the file that we will be posting to the FTP is an XML. This can be changed to CSV, for example, but in this case, it's XML. We then have a file name format. So this is the output file name and the logic of how the naming of the file will work. We then have a remote path. So this is basically where we will post it. So this we will get similarly from when we created the key. We will get that from here. We can copy the last part of the URL. So this is where we will post the files. We'll then have a root element, order file, and the root attribute version equals 1. I will create a separate video for going into the details of these settings, but this at the highest level is what you need in order to create a FTP destination. On the back of that, we can create a destination. And this is how easy it is to set up a destination using the high cohesion control panel. Up next is how to create a transformation between our source and our destination.